As the temperatures go down and the leaves leave the trees, I find myself reaching for this, and this is my old woolen winter smock, and it's a great bit of kit. One of the things I love about it is I can chuck it on at the beginning of the day and it creates my own little microclimate. I don't have to worry about the weather because this keeps me warm, keeps me relatively dry, and it keeps me comfortable all through the day. That way I can get on with teaching. Nowadays we can get these woolen smocks from various manufacturers. There's the original bush shirt made by Swan Dry in New Zealand, an excellent and almost legendary piece of kit. In the UK we've also got other manufacturers that make them. We've got Bushcraft who make an excellent one made out of Harris tweed, I believe. It's superb quality, really well put together. Over in the States there's the Leicester River bush shirt, which has a really strong following, and I can see why. It's well put together. That's some really good features on it. And there's also the weather wool shirt, which is the high-end model. It's a specially made wool. It's a very good design with some very interesting features on it. My smock I didn't buy, I made it myself, and it was one of my early sewing projects. I made it from an old army blanket and I put in all the features that I wanted. So I've got the big pocket on the front for my hands, but I've also got a cargo pocket across the front. I've got nice long sleeves which gives me really good freedom of movement, and it's cut down fairly long as well, so it keeps my back and my bum nice and warm. It's got a good sized hood that's adjustable, and I've got ventile cotton over the shoulders and the hood, which helps keeping the weather at bay. I not only made this one, I have made quite a few of these because I was making them to order for a little while, and as a result these ended up not only being used all over the UK but indeed all over the world, and the feedback I got on them was really good. Now I stopped making these years ago, and I've had quite a few people say to me, oh what pattern did you use? Well, the answer is I used my old smock pattern, which if you look back in my videos you can see how I put my smock pattern together. I don't know how to upsize patterns, and so I would never say, oh, I'll send you a pattern, because I don't know what size people are and I wouldn't know how to do it. Now, while all of the aforementioned companies make a fantastic high quality woolen smock product, they're also fairly expensive. And if you're on a tight budget, or if like me you just like having a go at making things, if you go onto YouTube there are lots of how-to videos for how to make a woolen smock. Simon, a bloke in the woods, he's put together a very good video on how to make one of these. It's a nice simple design, and the end result you'll probably get years and years of use of. And I would encourage anyone to have a go at making their own. There's nothing better than spending time designing and then making and putting a piece of kit together only to get to use it afterwards. Now, the big problem with all the how-to videos on YouTube is that you still have got this problem with a pattern. So I had a little look around to see what patterns you can get from most sewing shops that you could use to make one of these. And the one I found is this one. It's a McCall's pattern. It's one of their easy sew patterns, so it's relatively simple to put together. And the joy of these is, in here there are one pattern that has all the different sizes, and you just cut it to the size that you want. That way you'll get an end garment that fits properly. Now, this one's for a tracksuit top. You can have it with a collar or with a hood. You can have it with or without sleeves. You can do all sorts of things with this one pattern. As I said, it's for a tracksuit top, so it's a nice simple design to put together, and hopefully the end result will be really, really good. I've made, using this pattern and an army blanket, another wool shirt, and I'll show you it now. And here it is. This is the jacket I made using that pattern. I used the Dutch Army blanket. It was one that I'd had stashed away for years, and it was one of those slightly heavier, more felted type wool ones. It blocked the wind and the weather really, really well. I didn't go for the pockets that it showed on the pattern. Instead I've gone for basic patch pockets, and I've also not gone for the smock. I've gone for a full length zip in the front, just because it makes it a little bit easier taking it off and putting it back on again. Again, I've cut it fairly long so it covers my bum. I've got the hood on there so I can pull it up around my ears for when it's really, really cold, and I've gone for a good long sleeve. I've gone for knitted cuffs as before, but I've put these on the inside. One of the other things when I did it was I left a small 2-inch gap at the top of the cuff when I sewed it in. And the reason for that was if the weather is really cold, and what I can do is simply slide my thumb through that hole, and it gives me almost mitten-like coverage to my hands. But these little thumb loops aren't the only feature that this particular wool shirt has. Now the hood on our bush shirts, sometimes I find can get in the way. It's great on those days when it's really, really cold and you can pull it up around your ears, or sometimes if you're snuggled up around the fire you can flip that hood up. But there are times when it can be quite annoying. As you lean forward it can suddenly flop forward and it can become a bit of a distraction, which if you're working with knives or axes you don't really want. So what I did was I made my hood detachable, and all I did was put some press studs onto the back so that this can be mounted onto the collar. The collar is a nice high collar that I can zip right up, help to seal all that heat in. When I've got the hood attached, I've got my head sealed in and my neck sealed in, and it's really good at helping to help me conserve body heat. But that's not the only feature that this shirt has. For those of you who are really observant, you'll notice I've also put on detachable sleeves, and that's for those days when I'm perhaps doing a lot of work sawing or using my axe, or even if it's just not that cold. I just want something that I can chuck on first thing in the morning that's going to help to keep my core area nice and toasty warm, but isn't going to interfere with the freedom of movement of my arms. If you're really observant, you'll have noticed that actually I've been wearing this off and on for a couple of years, and it's been a very useful item. This is a really good beginner's project to have a go at. If you've got a domestic sewing machine or the use of one, all you've then got to do is get hold of the blanket and the pattern. And the pattern, all you do, go onto Google, type in McCall's patterns, put in the pattern number, order it, and they'll send it through. When you get it, look at the instruction leaflet. It will tell you how to size the pattern. It tells you which each of the pieces are. Decide what features you want, where you want your pockets, whether you want an overhead design, whether you want to have a full length zip, whether you want sleeves, whether you don't want sleeves. Do you want a fixed hood or do you want a collar? All of these things, it's up to you. You can make it as complicated or as simple as you like. Decide where you want your pockets, how you want your pockets. That is the beauty of making gear yourself. You get to decide what features your garment has got. With that done, you simply pin the pattern to your blanket, cut the pieces out, pin those pieces of blanket together, and then sew them together. And as I said before, if you can drive a car, you can operate a sewing machine. It really is that simple to do. So why not give it a go? Hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope above all that you actually give this a go and you make yourself up one of these, because they're a great piece of kit to have and to use. And have one that you've made yourself is a really, really good feeling. As always, if you like the video, hit that like button, and as always, share it. If you can think of someone who you think would benefit from having a go at making one of these, then share it to them. As always, you can contact me via email. My email address will come up on the screen. Put comments down below. I'll try and answer them when I'm not in the woods. And you can always support our shop over on Etsy. It's called Greencraft Shop, and you can go over there and there's all sorts of items, but one of the items are our little Greencraft patches. Why not show your support for the channel by ordering one of these? Perhaps you could even sew it to your newly made woolen smock. I've been Neil, and until next time, stay safe.